that was fitting. That's how it ends for the Bruins. Do you have any hockey thoughts for me, Mazz?
Well, so look, McAvoy was, to me, it starts there. You mentioned this earlier, but he was -4 in the series. Your best defenseman. He's on the ice more than any other player on the team. So if that guy sucks, you're almost cooked right out of the gate. Like, you have no chance. Given Florida's forecheck, what they needed more than anything else was sound defensive play, as good as it could get, starting with their best defenseman. He might have been their worst. Really, again, so your best player, your best defenseman, -4, worst on the team. Series over. It's like almost over just with that.
And he's probably your minutes leader,
He was.
So he's on the ice more than anybody else, and he's a minus.
Exactly.
Just do the math.
Right.
Hard to win that way.
No, you're screwed. You're screwed out of the gate if that happens. You have almost no chance to win that series if that happens, and it happened. He was good in one game. That's it. One game. That was game 5, right? Yes, game 5 he was good. The rest of it, he kind of sucked.
How do you lament? I was going to say lament. How do you assess the series overall?
I think that it was, if you look at it on paper, you say they lost in 6. You say, that's about right. But the fact that the flip side, the what's the word I'm looking for? It was so lopsided was striking. So I saw this stat that DuPont had that Florida outshot them in attempts by 27 shots a game, which is 9 per period. Think of that.
It's a lot.
The other team is attempting 10 more shots per period than you are.
Not shots on net, shots attempted.
Right, shots attempted. Firing at, with the idea of firing at the goalie.
Yep.
10 more times a period than you are.
Can I just ask a quick
question? And it felt worse.
The whole thing bothers me. And I understand that they were the better team and all this, the narrative is out there, and it's true. However, the Bruins did, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they win every game against the Panthers in the regular season?
Correct.
4 for 4 against the Panthers. Last year, to your point, Mike, you were talking about the best players. Didn't they have the puck on the stick of one of the all-time leading Bruins goal scorers in history on a breakaway to win the series? And he couldn't get it done. They end up losing and they were up 3-1. Well, this is a disappointment, this series. I understand they didn't have the talent. They didn't have the 20-goal scorers. But you had a 2-0 lead at home in a desperation situation in Game 4. You couldn't close that game out. Then you had Pasternak with the breakaway to go up 2-0 in Game 6. You couldn't do that. You didn't convert there. This is a disappointment, and I feel like the Bruins get let off the hook too many times. This is a disappointment.
100%.
It's been bad. This was bad.
100%.
And they had a lot, now that he brings up the Marchand thing, there were, in this series, there were a lot of opportunities in front of the net they couldn't finish. It's the same thing. Same thing.
So they lost to a better team, but they still could have won the series. And if their better players had produced when it mattered the most, they might have won the series. So just to say they lost to a better team, and that sounds about right, 6 games, like that's letting them off the hook. And that's not, then you don't understand hockey even. Because a lot of times a better team doesn't win. And there's ways to win when you're not the better team. And the Bruins had it within their grasp. And their best players let them down when it mattered most. And that's sort of what I'm going to look back in that series. And they also lost their mind. They got stupid in the middle of it. Hunting this, this revenge factor and bounty factor and Pasternak taking the fight against Tkachuk. Could you be any dumber? Really, in the moment you want to give him credit for manning up and all of that. But how stupid was that whole thing? And playing into their hands. You just play into their hands when your best skilled player fights one of their tougher guys. I know Tkachuk is like both, but that's not a fight he should be taking, and you know it. So he takes a fight. Now you get sucked into it. You're challenging Barkov off the opening faceoff the next night. You idiots. And then you spent way too much time crying about the goalie interference stuff. You got sidetracked with all that as well. So, you got panicky and choky as usual. 7 too many men on the ice penalties.
Unbelievable.
7? That's an NHL record. A record for the playoffs. And they didn't even make it past the second round. So that includes teams that went 4 times 7. You set an NHL record because you're so jittery and uncomposed and panicky. That's what they are. And that's where that comes out. That's how do you explain it? I can. They're chokers. And that's where it manifests itself. And yeah, look, in some respects they did okay. In some respects they to stretch it to 6, but I don't want to talk about those things. I want to talk about where they came up short and how they could have done more and should have done more.
They cracked again, melted.
Great goaltending too.
Right,
Great
they got the goal. It's a
They
good
couldn't
point.
even do it.
They got the goaltending on top of it.
Back to your phones. Luke in North Reading. Yes, Luke.
Hey, I just wanted to go into how awful I feel for Jeremy Swayman. Pavel Zacha scoring his first career playoff goal in 25 games, horrendous being a top-line guy. Coyle not having 1 goal in 2 long series. Marchand, I guess, was our best skater, but besides that, the whole team was brutal. Pasta 36th in scoring in the whole playoffs. McAvoy, dreadful.
So I would say, look, I don't even know if Marchand was your best skater. Who was your best forward?
Oh, God.
Who was your best forward? It's hard to. I mean, in the Florida series,
DeBrusk.
It might have been DeBrusk.
I was not going to allow myself to say the word.
I know.
It was in my mouth.
It was the first name that crossed my mind.
He wasn't. Who was?
I mean, again,
Who had the most points? You have the point.
I do. Zaka.
Okay,
had the most points.
He had a good game. Finally, he showed up in Game 6.
He was a +3 for the series. He had 4 points in 6 games.
Pasternak. I mean, he's got to pop one of those breakaways. He just has to. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not the same move every time?
Pretty much.
I mean, do you want to the same move every time?
Their forwards sucked.
How you're going to score on Bobrovsky is doing what Zacha did, roofing it, going upstairs. He doesn't even try.
And that's his game too. The elite hands and the skill, offensive skill. You got to be able to convert the breakaways.
The elite scorer's got to be able to roof it up top.
DeBrusk was their leading scorer. He had 6 points in the series.
Jake DeBrusk.
I had that upside down.
Boy.
-2, by the way.
So
Yeah, he was a -2.
That says it all. DeBrusk was your best forward. Need I say more?
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.